the 12th of August, Rabbi Furst, Parsha Hashavua Veschanan.
How are you today?
Baruch Hashem, doing very well. How about you?
Okay, Baruch Hashem. Thank you. Okay. Good morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here, Yeshivat Zamanavshi here in Shalim. Arab Zoom. We are learning Parsha Hashavua, Arab Shabbos, Parshas Veschanan, Shana Shemitah, Tafshin, Beis. Okay, if you'd like to go to the pasuk, we'll start with a psukim here in Veschanan. Then we're going to go to some psukim in the Midbar. But first, we'll start with the psukim by Sheni in Perek Dalid, verse Hey.
Dalid 8.
Hey.
Hey, Dalid 5.
That's right, 4-5.
Dalid, hey.
Okay, should I read?
Yeah, start with Sheni there, then we're going to go 3 or 4 psukim here. Go ahead.
Okay, Re'ei limadti eschem chukim umishpatim ka'asher tzivani Hashem Elokai la'asos kain b'kerev haaretz asher atem ba'im shama le'rishta. See, I have taught you statutes and ordinances that Hashem commanded, Hashem, my God, commanded to be done. Thusly, in the midst of the land, that you are coming, or you come. Shama, my English says to take possession. Shama lishta, l'rishta.
L'rishta is to take possession, to like from the same source of the word is yorish. Like yorish is an inheritance, to possess.
And what is Shama?
That over there you shall, right?
To come there to possess it.
Right. Atem ba'im shama l'rishta. You are coming there, meaning there it's Israel. There you are coming there to possess it.
Got it. Ushmartem va'asisem ki chachmaschem b'vinaschem le'nei ha'amim asher yishma'un es kol ha'chukim ha'eleh v'amru rak am chacham v'navon hagoy hagadol hazeh. Okay, so let's see. And you will guard, and you will do.
Let me just. Good morning, Roy. How are you today?
Oh, Roy. Hey, how are you?
Hello. I'm sorry, where are we? Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I want to say. We're in chapter 4, Parshas Veschanan. Chapter 4. We started with pasuk Hey, and now we're just in now pasuk Vav.
All right, thank you. Oh no, it's
So, yeah. Well, let me recap. It says in pasuk Hey, right? Roy lamadati eskem chukim mishpatim. Right? See, I mean, Moshe Rabbeinu is talking to Klal Yisrael. See that I have taught you the chukim, those ordinances, umishpatim, decrees. Kasher tzivani Hashem Elokai, that I have been commanded by Hashem, your God, my God, your God, that that you shall do so, Beker Ba'aretz, you shall do in the midst of the land, Asher Atem Baim Shamalursa, that you are going there to inherit, to possess. Okay, so now we're in pasuk of that, meaning we're entering. This is a statement that's made many different times in different places. We are entering our entrance into Eretz Yisrael is conditional upon our keeping the mitzvahs. Meaning Eretz Yisrael is a special place, and if we're not going to keep the mitzvahs, we don't have any real right to be here. The right that we have to be here in Eretz Yisrael is that we're going to keep the mitzvahs. And it's very similar to the Kachik Kadashim, right, of the Beis Hamikdash, that only the Kohen Gadol could go there on Yom Kippur, right, in order to do the avoda in the Beis Hamikdash, in the Kachik Kadashim. It's not a place where you can simply go and do whatever you want, right? The Heichel of the Beis Hamikdash, there was a door, the main door, and there were two smaller doors on the Heichel, and one of those two doors was a door that was always locked. It was always locked. No one ever went into that door. No one ever used that door. It was always locked. So the Meforshim commentators asked the question: what's the purpose of having a door that's never used? Strange thing, isn't it, Roy?
It's like having a synagogue that you don't go to.
Right. Meaning you build something, a door is supposed to be an entrance way and an exit way. So obviously it's supposed to let you in and out. So what's the purpose of a door that's never used? So one of the answers is that that Kadosh Baruch Hu, when he wanted the Beis Hamikdash to be built in this way, that there should be a door that was never used, that the Kohanim, even the Kohanim that come there every day and do the avoda there and every day, they should realize that this is not really their place. There are certain places you cannot go and certain things you cannot do over here. You shouldn't become too familiar with this place and take it for granted and feel that it's yours and you can do what you want as you wish when you want. No, there are rules and regulations about being here. So and certainly so the Kachik Kadashim. The Kachik Kadashim was also forbidden for anybody to enter there at any time of the year, except for that one exception of Yom Kippur, where the Kohen going in there to do the avoda. So very similarly, Eretz Yisrael is the same way. It's not a place you just can come here and do what you want. This is not a place of freedom. It's a place of serving Kadosh Baruch Hu. Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us Eretz Yisrael, as he gave us the Beis Hamikdash, the Kachik Kadashim, to be used in the context of serving him. That's why there is a place called Eretz Yisrael. And other places in the world are not like that. Other places in the world, they exist, that people can live on them, do their things on them, plant and plow and reap, and they can go to the beaches and enjoy the sights. That Eretz Yisrael is not like that. Eretz Yisrael is something which has been given to us to Kadosh Baruch Hu, is a place of serving him. So that's a very important point. And if we're not going to serve him properly, then it's very questionable. In fact, it's almost it's impossible that we should remain here. Possible to remain here. Okay, that brings us to pasuk Vav.
Okay, so you will guard and you will do, because it is your wisdom and your understanding in the eyes of the nations that shall hear all these statutes and who will say, only a nation that is wise and understanding let's see, it says nation twice. Rakam, a nation, wise and understanding. Hagoy, the people. Hagidol Hazeh. So I'm not sure why it repeats the word nation, but it's saying that surely this is a wise and a great nation. Ki mi goy.
Okay, yeah, that's so far, so that's good so far. Okay, so again, it says ushmarte vasisem, you shall guard them, and you should learn. Meaning that Rashi explains it should be. Take a look at the Rashi here. What's it mean? Shmartem vasisem. Rashi.
Okay, Shmartem, you shall guard. Zo mishneh. This is study.
Right.
And va'asisem, and do kimash ma'o. That is as it sounds.
Right, meaning as it's plain meaning. It's plain meaning. And just vasisem, you should study them. Study the laws and the statutes and the ordinances of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, and do them. It's not simply learning Torah is not a theoretical intellectual experience. It's something which is designed to be fulfilled as you learn it.
Right? Ki hi chachmaschem uvinaschem v'gomer. Because this is your wisdom and your understanding, etc. Bezos te chashvu. Through this, you will be considered chachamim unevonim, wise and understanding, leinei ha'amim, in the eyes of the people, the nations.
Right, meaning the people, right? The people of the nations, right? That
Is that our people or is that other people?
No, in the eyes of the amim is the nations.
So the non-Jewish world.
Right. So here it says clearly, right? It's going to be right the chukim u'mishpatim, right? That they're going to be. That's our through the chukim u'mishpatim, the ordinance, the decrees and ordinances. That's going to be considered to be our wisdom and our insightfulness in the eyes of the nations. Okay.
That's surprising, because didn't we read somewhere else? I think in Parshas Chukas that
Right.
the chukim are laws that about which the non-Jewish people are going to make fun of us. They're going to say this doesn't make any sense.
Right. So that's exactly what I want to talk about, because this is what I said when I mentioned yesterday. I wanted to speak today about the follow up on the point we mentioned yesterday, that when we were learning Eicha, right? So we came to the question there that the non-Jews were at one time they were jeering at us and they were disgracing us, and at the other time at the same time they were amazed. The other pasuk was how they were amazed that Yerushalayim could ever be breached and attacked and destroyed.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Right. So this is, and as I said yesterday, so it all depends as to whether or not we're doing the will of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, meaning the Goyim were rightfully amazed that Yerushalayim could ever be breached, attacked, and destroyed, and along with it the Beis Hamikdash. They were amazed that such a thing could happen, because they had the utmost respect for us and the fear of us when we were on the proper level, when we were on the Madrega, the level of keeping Torah and mitzvahs in the right way that we're supposed to. And if we didn't, however, when we fell from that level of proper keeping the Torah and its mitzvahs, right, then they not only um, were amazed at the destruction that took place, but they actually were uh, disgracing us and jeering at us in the after and during the aftermath of our destruction and our exile. Um, so that pasuk, that they were jeering at us, right? Was actually, as I mentioned, that actually took place many times in our recent history. That uh, the experience that Klal Yisrael had to go through in the destruction in Europe. So the goyim, the local non-Jews, they were very instrumental in our destruction, and they were actually very well pleased, and they were very well. And this is something which was repeated time and time again throughout history. That for example, when, for example, the people from Kelm, the yeshiva in Kelm was destroyed, al Kiddush Hashem. So the Germans led the people there, and not only the people in the yeshiva, but all the Jews of the town, men, women, children, and they were led through the town out to the outlying forest where they had dug a pit, one of many death pits that they had prepared previously, and they were being led through the town and out through the city, well, not the city, but a little village it was, out to this pit in the forest where they would be killed, al Kiddush Hashem. And as they were walking past the local non-Jews, they were jeering. The local non-Jews were jeering at us, and they were taking pleasure in the fact that the Jews would be destroyed, and this is, as we said yesterday, that when we fulfill our purpose, so they have the utmost respect for us, because they benefit, whether they know that or not, but they know that what we would call, I guess, subconsciously, that when the Jews are doing what they're supposed to be doing, there's benefit to the world. That's what we call a shefa bracha, an influx of a blessing, an influx of positive physical blessing to the world, and they benefit from that also. And when we're not doing our job, so then that whole influx of blessing stops, and their life becomes more difficult. And they attribute that, rightfully so, to the Jews' non-compliance with the Torah. So they have a right then to disgrace us, because, as I said yesterday, the guy puts his dime in the telephone booth. He doesn't get his dial tone, so he starts banging the phone, right? The receiver says, bang the phone. So it's very similar. The goyim react in the same way when we're not doing our job. So here our pasuk here in Veschanan says that, and Rashi explains that the hukim u'mishpatim, they are considered in the eyes of the non-Jews as our wisdom and our insightfulness, right? And as you said very correctly, if you want to take a look there in Parsha's Chukos, I'll tell you where it is. Chukas, right? It will be there, the beginning of Parsha Chukas, which starts in Perek, Perek Yud Tes, Pasuk, okay, Perek Yud Tes. Let's find out which pasuk we're referring to.
Which book are we in?
You have to go to Midbar. You have to go to Midbar, Parsha Chukas. That's in Perek Yud Tes. Very first book.
Jude Tess.
Right, Yud Tes Bays, 19:2.
Okay. Should I wait for Roy?
Yeah, I think. Right, actually, from my Rebbe in his Rav Shmuel Shechter Zechron Brocha, in his Orchis Chaim LaRoche, he quotes there the account of the destruction of Kelm, which actually took place. It was just a few weeks ago. It was, if not mistaken, yeah, 5th of Av, the 5th of Av. And so he describes how that the people of the yeshiva, the base of Talmud, were led out of the town to the pits outside the town, and then they were singing Elena L'Shabeach, right? Adon HaKoil. They were singing as they went out to their deaths. They were singing Elena L'Shabeach and Adon Olam. So the non-Jews, they were on both sides of the town, and they were jeering and bursting with hatred at the Jews, and showing all their venom and hate for the Jews. And as I mentioned, they're not consciously aware of why the actual reason is, but because we're not doing what we're supposed to do. So yeah, if you take a look here at the in Perek Yud Tes 19, the second verse, those Chukas HaTorah. Take a look, and we'll see the Rashi in a minute. You could read it if you want.
Those Chukas HaTorah, Asher Tziva Hashem Lemor, Daber El Bnei Yisrael, Vayikchu Elecha Farah Aduma Temima, Asher Ein Ba Mum, Asher Lo Allah Aleha O. Okay, so this is the law of the Torah that Hashem commanded, saying, speak to the children of Israel that they should take, you should take for yourselves a red cow, perfect, that there's not an imperfection, not a blemish, that there has never been upon it a yoke, period, a yoke.
Right.
So you should take a red cow that has never had a yoke upon it, and it has no mum.
Right. Okay. Now take a look at Rashi here. This is the Rashi you were mentioning a few moments ago.
Okay. Zos Chukas HaTorah. This is the statute of the Torah. Lefi she ha Satan, because the Satan, the accuser, ve'umos haolam, and the nations of the world, and this is the non-Jewish nations, Monin es Yisrael. They taunt Israel, Lamar, saying, Ma ha mitzvah hazos. What is this commandment? Uma ta'am yesh ba. And what reason is there for it? Lefichach kasav ba. Therefore, it is written concerning it, chukah, statute, gezerah hi mil fanai, a decree, it's a decree before me, ein lecha reshus lahar her achareha. You do not have permission to harher about it. Now, this word harher, my English says reflect, and I wrote in question. I think somebody told me it meant question.
Yeah, the lahar is to like the question, to entertain doubts.
So this is in distinction to mishpatim, where you can harher them, correct?
Well, not, you don't have, no, it doesn't mean that if you say that it's to have doubts, to entertain doubts, you can't say that about the mishpatim either. But you can. There's a difference in trying to analyze the reasons of mishpatim and trying to analyze the reasons of the chukim, where there's no chukim involved. I mean, it's a choik. The tefillin has to be black, okay? Tefillin has to be black. So you're not going to gain anything. There's nothing to be gained by trying to understand why tefillin has to be black, right? Why does the parah have to be red? Why does the cow have to be red? Why can't it be black and white, right? Brown. Why can't it be a nice brown cow? Right? What's so special?
But I bet you there are rabbis that could give a drasha on the fact that it's black.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
They could give you symbolism and references to other things and all kinds of discussion about the fact that it's black. Right. I've heard discussions about the red heifer, about the various symbolisms.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, but there's symbolisms, but you can't. That's why it's not simply just reflecting. It's something. It's to entertain doubts about it. That's why.
Right. But that's what I'm grappling with. You can't entertain doubts about anything. What is the difference?
No, because since you simply the hukim you have to simply accept as it is, as given, right? And really the truth is all the mitzvahs of Hashem are that way. Every single mitzvah of the world, the Kadosh Baruch was that way. We have to accept it because he's the king and he commanded it. It's not my business, to try and second guess the king. You don't. The person, if he's a loyal citizen, he's a loyal subject. He doesn't second guess the king. There's no second guessing the king, right?
But on the other hand, everything Hashem does has many reasons at many levels, and we're supposed to try and learn from all these things and understand what we are capable of understanding.
Right, but what's the goal, the purpose of our limud, the purpose of our learning? The goal of our learning is to fulfill the commandments properly, right? So
is that the only goal?
That's the primary goal. The Torah Lishma, Rav Chaim Volozhin says, what does it mean to learn Torah Lishma? Torah Lishma means that you're learning Torah in order that you should fulfill the mitzvahs of Kadosh Baruch Hu the way he commanded it, the way he wants it to be done. right? That's you can forget about all the esoteric understandings and mystical connotations of other things, but the bottom line is the Shema is you want to learn the Torah in order you should fulfill it correctly, the Kadosh Baruch Hu commanded.
But when we look at great statements of what is the Torah about, we hear things like love your neighbor as yourself. Don't do something to somebody else that you wouldn't like to be done to you. These aren't saying make sure you don't eat pork. These are saying you should be a good person. You should live in such a way that you fulfill these precepts, and that seems to be the essence of the Torah according to these sages.
So those are general statements. Those generals. Our Rashi, the Rashi we started out with today, and then ushmartem v'asisim. Ushmartem. What does that mean? It means you have to learn, right? You have to learn,
Right.
definitely, and that's applicable to the Chukim as well, right? It's Rashi saying that about the Chukim and the Mishpatim. You have to learn it, yeah, and because if you don't learn it, you're not going to be able to fulfill what it says. It's supposed to be a red heifer. Not why is it a red heifer? Why is it red? Why is it red not as opposed to yellow? Because Hashem doesn't make yellow cows. So now you know something. But the learning you're supposed to be learning is what is considered to be red? How red is it red? One hair is red, two red hairs does it have all hairs are red except one white one. What is considered to be red? So that you have a right and an ability to be able to explore and determine what it is, right? But as Rashi says, gezerah below tam. It's a gezerah, it's a decree without a reason. Whatever you want to make symbolic understandings of it, very nice. You can do that, but that's not going to change the real reason, and the real reason has not been revealed to us. And that's what they're going to criticize us. You're doing things without knowing the reasons why, right? You're doing things without knowing the reasons why, right? So how is it in this Rashi here in Chukas? It's derogatory. It's derogatory,
Right.
and the Rashi in us and by Veschanan, it's a praise. It's a
Exactly.
it's a compliment. So
We are wise and understanding in the eyes of the people.
right, that's a compliment, right? That's a compliment. And here in Hukos, it's a derision.
Right.
So how can it be? So basically, it is dependent, as we said earlier, depends on when and how we're doing the mitzvahs. If we're doing the mitzvahs in the proper way and we're filling the mitzvahs properly, because they are the commands of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. So we don't, and if they know that we're doing this because this is why is this is as Rashi says, it's a gezerah below tam. This is the command of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. This is the command of our God. So they understand that. Oh, the Jews are obeying their God. The Jews are obeying their God. You can't criticize people for doing that. There's no opportunity for criticism in that case. We're obeying our God. God commanded us. We're obeying Him. There's no, it's like a fellow. He's a guy's on the motorcycle, and he's driving next to you on the highway, and he asks you, why are you going 55 miles an hour, right? Because you tell him because that's what the sign says. He can criticize you for that. No criticism for that. Can't criticize you for that.
Right.
So likewise, if the goyim sense, because we are honestly fulfilling the mitzvahs because of Kadosh Baruch Hu, He is our God. And we're not simply following the mitzvahs because we want to get good things out of it. We don't want to get punished. We want to get even I'll tell you, even if we want to fulfill the mitzvahs because we want to get Olam Haba, we want to get a reward in Olam Haba, we want to get some kind of a reward in Olam Hazeh. We don't want to get punished either in this world or the next world, right? And certainly not if we're doing it because we want to get famous, we want to get rich, we want to be acknowledged amongst our friends and family, right? If we're not doing it for those reasons, we're doing it for the proper reason because Hashem commanded us, and He's our God, and He commanded us, and we're fulfilling His will, right? So then there's only praise for people like that, even if they're doing things that are not understood. Because why? Because you don't need understanding. I'm simply following orders. And but if we're simply doing things we're doing things for another reason. We're doing things because we want to get rich, we want to get famous, we want to be well liked amongst our family and friends and associates. We want to get a reward in this world. We want to get a reward in the next world in Olam Haba. We want to avoid punishments in this world and punishments in the next world. If we're doing it for those reasons, and not for the reason that Hashem is our king, but every time we make a bracha, and most all brachas, you have to have, to make a bracha, it has to have Shem Malchus, has to have the Shem of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it has to have Malchus. That's what we say. Baruch Ata Hashem, so we mentioned the Shem, Baruch Ata Hashem, Elokeinu Melech Ha'olam, right? And he tells us to show, it's L'Koresh Shoifer, L'Koresh Megillah, L'Yeshe B'Sukkah, right? We make all these brachas and we say clearly, right? Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem our God, who is Melech, right? Who is the king of everything, is the king of all. So we say with our brachas an acknowledgement that we're doing this as a command from our God, and our God is the king, the one who commands us to do these things, and He's king over the whole world. So that's well and understood by most anyone can understand that, and there's very little, if any, criticism you could say about such a thing like that. So that's when it's going to be considered to be our chachmas and nuvasam. It's going to be our wisdom and our insight in the eyes of the nations.
So in other words, it's not what we do that brings on anti-Semitism. It's what we don't do.
Exactly, and also how we're in a certain way how we're doing, or what's our motivation for doing it. That was the whole destruction that took place. That was what we read in the psukim in Yirmiyah, that Alma of the Hard. Why did we lose the land? Right. Well, the Gemara asks that. Actually, it's a question. It's a question that the Gemara discusses, explains is that it's based on a pasuk in I think in Yirmiyah. I think it's a pasuk in Yirmiyah. That I think the statement was made by Yirmiyah. Yeah, if you want to mark it down, there's the puzzle. I think we read it on Tisha B'Av. We read it during the Kriyas Torah for, I think, Mincha time. It's a pasuk in Yirmiyah. chapter 9, Pasuk 11. Chapter 9, Pasuk 11. And the Gemara in the Darim, right? That's the Gemara in the Darim in Pei Aleph, 81 Aleph. The Gemara in the Darim, Daf 81 Aleph, Pei Aleph, discusses this pasuk, right? And the pasuk says, I'll quote you the pasuk. Let me just bring it up here 1 second. Oh, right. So that's the pasuk, right? The pasuk in Yirmiyah again, Perek Tet, pasuk Yud Aleph 9:11. Mi'ayisha chacham v'yavin es zos. It's also, look at this pasuk. This pasuk is actually paralleling our whole discussion here. Mi'ayisha chacham v'yavin es zos. Who is the man who is wise and insightful that he about this? Asher diber pi Hashem, that it came from the mouth of Hashem, Elav, to him. Yigida al ma of the haaretz, and he was told about why the land was destroyed. Nitzasa kemidbar mibli oiv. It was parched like a desert without anyone passing through it. Right. So the Gemara in the Darim asked the question, for what was the reason that the land was destroyed? And so the Gemara says that really this question was put to the Chachamim, the Nevi'im, and even the Malachim, and none could give the reason. And Kadosh Baruch Hu in the end gave him the reason himself. He said, why was the land destroyed? Because the Jews have forsaken the Torah. They forsook the Torah. They gave up the Torah. And they didn't follow, they didn't fulfill, and they didn't follow the Torah that Hashem gave us. And for that reason, the land was destroyed. So the learning of Torah is not like the learning of anything else. If people stopped studying philosophy, you think anything would happen in the world? Not much. People stopped studying science. You think that things would happen much and change much in the world? Probably not too much. What if they all stopped? What do you think? If they all stopped learning science in all the schools and universities, what do you think would happen?
Well, we would certainly suffer. I mean, our standard of living would suffer.
Well, that's questionable. Tell you the truth, that's questionable. It's questionable as to whether or not our standard of living is really truly beneficial. Really truly beneficial. There are probably more people with psychological problems in these generations than ever existed in history. When people were busy out in the fields, right? They were busy making their own clothes, making their own bread. People didn't have much chance to get depressed about things and have all the other many different various psychological things that you could go to a psychiatrist and get all kinds of different pills to supposedly treat a person's disturbed psyche. I've said it before that the world was much more normal before Edison invented the light bulb. Before Edison invented the light bulb, people would go to sleep soon after sunset, and they would wake up before dawn, and they get a good night's sleep. Now people are up all kinds of hours, days, and night. People are suffering from lack of sleep, which causes them to be on edge, not to be friendly to themselves and to other people. A lot of problems, right? So there's no definitive proof that our standard of living is really truly beneficial. Right?
Well, I mean, we couldn't support the population if people stopped learning science and it wouldn't, there'd be no immediate effect, but going down the road 10, 15, 20 years, we find that there's nobody to run the electric plant or the nuclear power plant. And so we're not getting electricity anymore. And the communal farms, have to be abandoned, and people go back to individual farms. The productivity would go down. Millions of people would die.
I mean, that's because we're stuck with what we have right now. But one of the things that this generation is suffering from, and it's a very, 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 very big problem. You have to realize it's a very big problem. That we have a lot of highly educated people with a very serious lack of intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very big problem. We don't realize it. People aren't willing to acknowledge and talk about this. But there are tremendous amounts of people that are highly educated with a very serious lack of intelligence. And not only that, wisdom. They certainly lack wisdom. And that is a very big problem. The Sefer Chavos Levavos says that every advance in, he didn't call it technology, but every advance, he meant technology, where if he was around these days, he would use the word technology. But he said every advance in technology is actually a destruction to human wisdom.
So you're saying because of the technology, we have this problem that people are not intelligent?
That's part of it. Very true. Very part of it. If people,
well, what do you when you say intelligent?
They acknowledge that they acknowledge the problem that they have with the generation. You know, the Chinese, they realized what these smartphones are doing to their people, and they outlawed the use of smartphones for the school population. They only allow like 2 or 3 hours of using the smartphones during the course of a week, because they realized that they were getting involved with all the different things on their smartphones, and they weren't putting their minds to their education. That's what the Chinese did.
Uh-huh.
I mentioned this to you before. Also, this was a high level. I forgot which think tank in Washington D.C. did this analysis, but it was also part of the Defense Department as well. That only approximately 30% of the United States population is fit to be drafted into the Army. That 70% or so of the population is not fit to be drafted into the Army for 3 basic reasons. One, they're either criminals, they're obese, or they are on drugs. And so that really means is that the 30% of the population that is not on drugs, not obese, and not criminal is defending the criminals, the drug addicts, and the fat people.
That sounds pretty bad.
Very bad. It's very bad. That situation is not that situation is not a favorable situation. That's not a favorable forecast. Not a favorable forecast. So so you were questioning my statement that I was not happy with the with technic. There was too much. Look, we can have a think tank of say 100, 200, 500 if you want, 500 scientists. Right, we'll train 500 scientists, right, and they'll do. You need thousands and thousands of people who are capable. You don't need all those people. Let those people. They should be more practical, do more practical things for society, and they'd be happier off themselves if they were doing menial labor and then staying out of there, keeping their minds busy by doing manual labor. But again, also, I tell this bench also, one of the worst things that happened was the outlawing child labor. When they had child labor, you can believe me, they didn't have the juvenile delinquency. They didn't have juvenile delinquency when they had child labor. I'm not saying they should abuse and give children jobs that are not capable of doing, right? But to say that they can't be employed and they can't be used practically and positively for themselves and for the society, what's wrong? Let them at a very young age learn crafts and professions that they can go into without the need for too much education. They'll learn what they have to do when they're young, and they'll become expert at it, and that'll be enough. That'll be enough. But in any event, no one's asking me, and they're certainly not going to change their policies. I don't think so. But nevertheless, that doesn't stop the erosion of human intellect, which unfortunately, the erosion of a human intellect is a very serious problem that we have to live with, unfortunately. But we believe that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to take care of us in spite of our foolishness, as long as it doesn't get to be too drastic. If it gets to be too drastic, then as long as we keep to Hashem's Torah and mitzvahs and his desire for our Maisim Tovim, so we'll be able to have Hashem's Shefa Bracha. And okay, so that's the also just we'll stop with this.
Thank you.
That's the Gemara and Brachas. I think it's Lamed Ches. Take a look. You have a minute. The Gemara and Brachas Lamed Ches. That's the two psukim. It says one pasuk says V'lekachti gani be'itoi. The one pasuk says that I personally will collect my grains. And on the other pasuk it says Yisafta diganeka. That's one of the pasuk we say in Shkrishma. Yisafta diganeka. Your grains will be gathered for you. So the Gemara asks the question: how can these? One says that we're doing it, the other one says it's going to be done for us, right? So that's the Bisman. The Gemara says Bisman Yisrael Osim Ritzon Shel Makom, at the time when the Jewish people are doing the will of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Malakta Nasis Ayideatz Acherim. When we are doing the will of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, so the work that we need to do, right, will be done through other people. But in the time when we're not fulfilling the Ritzon of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, then the work we need to do will be done and have to be done by ourselves. So it all boils down to our keeping to the Torah, to learning His Torah, understanding His Torah, and fulfilling His Torah. And if we do that, everything will be just fine. So in any event, we'll have to stop now, and we'll continue, Mr. Shem, on Yom Rishon. Joel, have a good Shabbos.
Have a good Shabbos. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi.
I'm not too sure if I'll be here on Yom Rishon. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, very good. We're looking forward to you seeing you. So if you can, please join us. Okay, but have a good Shabbos in the meantime. Thank you, Lou. Be well.
Okay, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.